welcome to my channel, Andrea Makes, and today I'm continuing the Vlog Life series and chatting with talented pattern designer Andrea from Sewspire. If you are a bag maker, if you're interested in getting into bag making, definitely check out her channel. I will put a link to it in the description box. So go subscribe, you will love her, and she is going to be sharing her YouTube journey with us today. So here's my conversation with Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your YouTube journey with us.
It's my absolute pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
I'm delighted to have you. Tell us when you started your YouTube channel and what prompted you to start your channel.
So I actually began creating content in the summer of 2015, but it took me until mid-October of the same year to finally have the confidence to publish it. So it was definitely just getting that courage up was a process. And for me, I finally just set that hard and fast deadline. No matter what, I'm doing it. And then as far as prompting me to start the YouTube channel, I had another channel before Sewspire called Watermelon Wishes. And that is the brand under which I market my own handmade designs. And so I was creating weekly makes, a lot like what you do with your channel. And so many people were asking me to teach them how to make what I was showing, that I tried to do that on Watermelon Wishes. And then it got to be such a challenge to market to two completely different customer bases, because my buyers were confused, like, do I have to sew it myself? And then the maker community just wanted to know how to make it because they knew that they could. And so I thought it would be better to separate the audiences, and that's why I created Sewspire.
How, if you think it has YouTube changed since you started your channel? And also, if you think you have, how have you changed since you started your channel?
Yes, so I've never heard, I think that's such a great question. I've never heard anyone say, I hate YouTube. Have you? Like,
No.
Everybody loves YouTube, right? It's the first place you go when you have a problem or a question, or you're bored, or you're looking to learn something new. So in my mind, YouTube is just always getting better. From a creator's perspective, I think they're doing a fabulous job matching people's interest with the content. So if anything, they just make it easier for us as YouTubers, because remember, they want people to watch our content. So they're working for us, not against us.
At any point since you've had your channel, have you wanted to not YouTube anymore?
Yes. The closest I ever came was the first few months into COVID. It was so hard for me to go from having like all of this freedom during the day and the kids at school and the husband at work, and then to be locked in the house. It was so hard. And the reason that I didn't quit then, even though it just seemed so hopeless at the time, was because I had already been 5 years into this. And so I had already built these friendships, and I knew that everybody was going through the same thing that I was. But that's the closest that I ever came, just because it was like, you know, flipping a switch. All of a sudden, had this wonderful creative life in which I got to do whatever I wanted all day, to what felt like jail.
We're so glad that you kept going. What do you think is the most rewarding thing about having a YouTube channel? And then conversely, what do you think is the most challenging thing about having a YouTube channel?
So hands down, the community is the most rewarding thing. And I actually didn't see that coming when I started the channel. I kind of just thought I would produce content, people would consume the content, and that would be the end of the story, right? But the YouTube community and on both sides, creators and viewers, is so dynamic, and it's its own thing all by itself. So I really love my subscribers, and you can have meaningful relationships that are virtual. And we have built such a wonderful community of Sewspire subscribers and patrons that I think of them as family, really. So that's something that was a gift that I didn't know was out there. And I think that gift is available to anybody who's willing to show up and put in that work up front. You will eventually, like they say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So the people who resonate with you will subscribe, and they will tune in to see how you are. They will care more about you as a person than what you're necessarily giving. You'll reach that point where there will be a shift, that they're coming because they really like you.
I cannot agree more about the community aspect. Just in the short time that I've had my channel, I have met so many wonderful people who faithfully comment, and we are building a relationship, I feel, and not only with the subscribers, but also with fellow YouTubers. The community is just unbelievable.
It is. It really is. And I often give thanks that I'm alive at a time when we have these tools, right? And I think both of us are pretty close in age. You remember a time when you didn't have a cell phone and you didn't have a computer, and you still had a really thriving, wonderful life, but our opportunities now are truly unlimited.
I agree. For such a time as this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do you want in regards to challenges on the YouTube channel? Really, at this point, I'm going on 6 years. I think I've refined the process so much that there isn't an aspect that I don't like about it anymore. So I don't have challenges now, but there were plenty of challenges, over the years. But I try, whenever I find a challenge, to find out how I can simplify it or omit it, or get better technology or resources to make it so that it isn't an obstacle.
Yes, constantly learning and growing and
Absolutely.
changing if necessary. Let's talk about your content a little bit. How do you balance perhaps creating content that you personally want to create versus what you think would resonate well with your viewers?
Yes. So I think if you make it a habit to inform viewers, like within the first few seconds of the video, what you intend to talk about, that they will just decide for themselves if the content is of interest or if not, right? Or if they have time to consume it right then. But in general, I really try to follow my heart. So because creativity is so fluid, it's so important to me that I leave room for inspiration. So if I get too rigid and too structured, then I am inhibiting that inspiration. And that's the whole point of my channel, is to be inspired. But that being said, where I did make the compromise was I committed to a specific date and time to publish. If it were up to my free spirit, I'd just hit publish whenever. But as you know, people like to know what's happening, and I respect that. I do too, honestly. Like, I have my favorite YouTubers, and I'm sad if they don't publish when they say they're going to publish. So that was something I learned over the first couple years, that it really is important to show up when you say you're going to show up. And so that's where I made the compromise. But content wise, I pretty much do what my heart wants to do.
I agree. Creativity can't be forced.
Yeah. And you never know when it might strike inspiration. So you have to be ready all the time and open for that.
That's true. Did you have any long-term goals when you started your channel?
I did. My initial goal was to teach 10,000 women how to sew. And so over, the first year that was loosely interpreted as inspire 10,000 women to sew. And so the only way that I could quantify that was by subscribers. At the time, I didn't know any other way to quantify it. So viewers and subscribers are not the same. I usually have more views, cumulative views than subscribers. So I probably met that milestone earlier than I was aware of, but I did hit the 10,000 subscriber mark. So, but at this point, I think I probably have inspired more than 10,000 people to sew.
That is amazing. I know you've inspired me.
Oh, thank you.
If you receive unkind comments on any of your videos, how do you handle those, and what's your advice for handling those?
So first I try to determine if it's constructive, right? Is this actually something that I could take action on? Like lighting, right? Or sound, or if the camera wasn't positioned, was a little off, right? And could I have done it better? If the answer is yes, then, I appreciate them bringing this to my attention, and I just make both myself and them the promise that I'll do better next time. But I think it's important to note, even though we always try, right, to produce the best content that we can produce, we're people too, and we're going to wake up with bad hair days and irritations and all kinds of things that come into play, right? So to me, it became more important to produce the content, even if it wasn't perfect, because I can always try to get better, but I will not let that stop me from publishing. If the lighting was off or the sound was glitchy, I will still publish, because now, after all of these years and meeting so many different people, I think we cannot know for sure what impact we have on someone's life. And so it really is just important to me to show up, to keep my word, even if that means we're going to have subpar lighting or sound. At least I will have kept that word. But in general, I do try to determine if it's constructive, and if I can fix it, I'll do my best. And if I just don't have any interest in changing that, right, then I'll let them know, sorry, that's my jam. Like sometimes people say, oh, you talk so quiet or so slow or whatever. And I'm like, that's who I am. I'm not willing to change that. If it's just completely irrelevant or cruel, right, then it's just an automatic block and delete. And I learned that from a business coach that I had early on, who basically said you wouldn't have someone in your home to be belligerent to you and your family. And this is your channel and it is your life's work, right? So, and then the benefit of me doing that, having zero tolerance for people being unkind, is my inner circle of subscribers who are part of my Patreon community then feel safe. They know no matter what, when we come together, everyone will be kind. And so that was worth it in the beginning, to set that high standard for the community, because now we have such a large network of friends because everyone feels safe.
That is a great way of putting it, protecting your community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they too, I noticed, like if I miss something, right, because I don't watch the comments 24/7. So, and I have a Facebook group. So sometimes things will slip in and they'll see it before I see it. And they do tend to feel the need to defend me. And I don't want to put them in that position either, because that's taking from their beautiful life that they have to then kind of dance in that darkness. So in general, I set the standard really high for myself being kind. and for the community members to be kind and supportive of all of our viewers and patrons.
That is wonderful. I love that.
Thank
If
you.
we allow it, the comparison game can be discouraging. How do you handle the comparison game?
So I think that this might kind of set me apart from the masses. I never worry about what other people are doing. And that is because I am truly the only person who can be me. You are truly the only person that can do you. And no matter what, like even if I wanted to copy everything you were doing, right? Like if I verbatim produced a show that looked just like yours, I still wouldn't be you, no matter what. So I think we all have gifts and we all have talents and we all are 100% essential to this world. And so I don't worry. I just want to uplift and support what other people are doing. And I feel like that circles back to me as well. So I actually really love that we have lots of successful women sewers on YouTube who are making a difference. And secretly, you know, we're all on the same path here, trying to promote creativity. So we're all in service of one another.
That's a wonderful and healthy attitude and outlook. Reaching 1,000 subscribers is a huge milestone for a channel. What advice and or words of encouragement would you give smaller channels who haven't reached that milestone yet?
Okay, so create for one. That's the first thing. And we all started with one subscriber. So is one life not worth it? Right? To have a positive impact on one person is absolutely worth it. And, you know, anybody I know would do anything they could for another person in need. So that being said, the other thing that I like to do is like, let's say you only have 100 subscribers. Imagine yourself in a room giving a talk to 100 people. That's cool. And then 1,000, that's cooler. 10,000, that's like scary. 100,000 people? Whoa, right? Eventually you're going to reach the point where you couldn't fit you and all your subscribers in one spot. So consistency is the key. If you really want to grow your channel, you're going to have to be consistent. So it's hard in the beginning, right? If you let that negative self-talk in and you say, I only have 10 or I only had 10 views, nobody cares what I'm doing, you won't make it there like that. You said that's why I say focus on the one. One person cared what I was doing. And then before you know it, it'll be 2 and on and on and on. Now, like I remember getting to 10,000 because it was a huge deal, but like 10,000 to 50,000, I don't remember. And that's a lot of people. Not that the people don't matter, but I just don't remember counting there, right? But I marked the 50,000 milestone because I turned 50 at the same time that I hit 50,000 subscribers. So that was a big deal. And we're going to mark 100,000 subscribers with a hot air balloon ride. So it's like between 50 and 100,000 seems like a huge chunk, but it's the same distance that I already traveled. So it will happen and I will be in a hot air balloon then. So plan something fun for yourself, celebrate the milestones. If you want to celebrate every 100 subscribers, do it.
I totally agree. And I love the idea of the hot air balloon. How fun.
Yeah, and there's actually a whole story that goes with that. So a longtime subscribers kind of follow that, but eventually it will be there.
Oh, absolutely. I don't doubt it. What do you think is the biggest misconception about having a YouTube channel?
That you'd be rich. Everybody thinks YouTubers are rich, and certainly some of them are, and there is absolutely no shortage of opportunities to create revenue, right? But all of them are going to require your effort. there's not a get rich fast plan on YouTube. So you're gonna have to pick and choose what it is that you're good at, what your gifts are, and how you want to nurture that.
What advice and or words of encouragement would you give your fellow sewing YouTubers and also those who may be thinking about starting a YouTube channel?
So for sure, if you're going to produce video content, you must be 100% you. That's the only way that you're not going to burn out doing this, because it doesn't take any extra effort to be you. So if you're considering doing this, again, don't try to be someone else. Just do you. Be 100% authentically you. That does not translate into you have to share every last love and tidbit of your life. You don't. You should protect your privacy and your family, but you should be 100% authentically you. So if it resonates with you and that's your jam, right? Do that. But don't try to be what someone else is. Okay, so if you're out there and you've never made video content before, and you're thinking about starting the channel, first practical tip I have for you, go ahead and buy lights and a microphone. I tried to just not do that for the longest time, right? And it makes such a difference, and it's such a small amount of money to spend to have a huge difference on your content. So lights and a microphone. But then the next best piece of advice that I have is write a mission for your channel and share it often with your community. So my personal mission is to bring the healing power of creativity to as many people as possible. And so through the channel, I do that by teaching sewing and inspiring others to try sewing. So there's the tech end of it, and then the actual what's going to get you up out of bed, right? It's that mission that's going to make you show up, hit record, and publish.
You have given us such wonderful words of wisdom and encouragement and inspiration. Thank you so much, Andrea. I appreciate it so much.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for all you're doing.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. She is so lovely and sweet and is full of wonderful words of wisdom and encouragement and advice. And I told her off camera that I could see why the word inspire is part of her channel and her brand, because she is definitely an inspiration. I hope you enjoyed the chat. I hope you're enjoying this series. Let me know in the comments below if you are. I will put a link to the playlist of all the other YouTubers I have interviewed, so check that out if you haven't seen those. And as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel thus far. It really means a lot to me. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it if you would. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!